Okay, we're going live now. It should come right in.
Tuesday. What he's supposed to be doing, he's supposed to be sharing his screen, showing a PowerPoint.
All right, is it going live yet, Kevin? Let's see. Gosh, I'm sorry about this, people. We're trying to get this thing moving. 1 second, please. We're trying to get everything going live. It's tough. I'm trying to do the presentation at the same time as we're trying to take this live, so please bear with me. I think we are live on Facebook now. All right, good. We are live on Facebook. Okay, let me get back into the mix. Okay. All right, so Bahamas Maritime and Trading Academy is part of navigating the successful future as a priority, number one priority, to educate the present and the future of Bahamas. We want to take back these waterways to stimulate economic prosperity and growth for the people. The mission is special to me because we can create an international maritime academy that can attract those seeking knowledge in every aspect of the marine industry as an opportunity to learn skills necessary to launch successful careers. As a young man of color, I was steered the wrong way when wanting to enter into the industry. There were no men of color that would step up and offer mentorship. So many of these young men and women have been shut out of this industry because of the lack of role models and mentors. I have and will always continue to remain vigilant in helping people that wish to learn and or embark into the marine industry. Skills assessment. One of the things that we have to do, which is going to be very important, is to be able to analyze and be able to find out the perfect fit and the perfect skill set for these individuals that we're bringing into play. And that's where our biggest goal is going to be when we start going and getting these kids moving into tracks. And this is not just the children. We're looking at adults and people who have and been involved in the marine industry to help them to become part of the working part of this whole environment and get them in to be able to find a profitable and fruitful career path. We have to determine areas of expertise so we do not waste energy and waste people's time and effort to try to be able to create this environment. We'll focus on the operations, manufacturing, service, and logistics. Each one of these components are very integral parts of every part of what we have to do. If it's manufacturing, if it's border patrol, if it's, infrastructure support, creating, each one of these things is going to be an important catalyst of being able to identify and move these people along in the correct career path. The virtual education, as I said, is going to be where we're going to be doing book knowledge, getting them into the written word and understanding nomenclature of the boats and understanding what these parts are to the boats and being able to learn and how to be able to adjust and apply the virtual education, which is the book knowledge, and then be able to transfer that into the actual hands-on. Virtual learning combined with the interactive is where we're really going to get the most enthusiasm, because once you get into the book learning of this process, it then allows you to be able to get a bit more knowledge to see hands-on practicality of utilizing what you've learned and now applying it in a real working environment. We're going to be able to create virtual labs that'll be strategically located throughout the Bahamas. Those labs will be able to be places where these kids will be able to come, adults will be able to come, anybody that's interested to be able to start getting on the career track and be able to get involved and be able to be part of the whole process. Computer access has always been a problem, and that's one of the things that we're going to bring into this play as well. We need to make sure that we can make sure everybody has access to the information. There's no reason at all in this day and age with the technology that we have in hand that we cannot take advantage and utilize and leverage this technology to our advantage. This education without borders and connectivity, that's what this is about. We're able to do this now. I'm sitting in Cape Coral, Florida right now with my family while you all are in the Bahamas looking at what we're doing. And this is something that we'll be able to implement throughout the Bahamas and be able to connect the Bahamas instead of the separate islands. It now becomes the connectivity to create the one Bahamas, a unified Bahamas that's advancing for the success of the country in the future. As I said, the virtual learning is going to be the first leg. We got to fill these young minds with knowledge and the ability to learn and to research these career paths and take executable actions in order to get them involved and move them in the right direction. Creation of transferable skills throughout the Bahamas. You know, when we look at the marine industry, it's not just boats. It's not just boat building. It's everything that has to deal with the logistics. It's putting people and transporting people. It's captaining, it's cleaning of the boats, it's provisioning of the yachts that are coming in. There's so many different components, and the ability to be able to transfer these skills will allow us to be able to do so much more. I'm going to go through this a little bit further, and I'm going to get you guys up to a little bit more. Let me get out of the, 1 second. All right, let's get into it. One of the biggest things we got to look at is climate change, which is a huge challenge. And it has to be brought in line with the government and the businesses and the individuals to work together. And this is where we come into our whole mission on sustainability. Sustainability and asset management are our top priorities to move everything around. Sustainability is the ability to maintain at a certain rate of level the sustainability of economic growth, avoidance of depletion of natural resources in order to remain ecological balance. One of the things that we have to take into consideration is protecting the Bahama waterways and making sure that we're doing the right thing to keep the Bahamas beautiful. This is the most intricate part because we have to make sure that this is where we can draw the people in. One of the things that we have is that when you have any things that have transpired in the Bahamas, when you've had disasters, hurricanes, and things of that nature that have gone through, what's happened is that there's a lot of debris. A lot of things that are just sitting around that end up messing up the beautification of the island. And one of the things that we're looking at from sustainability is to be able to take those items and then bring them into fold and reuse what we can reuse. The recycling, which is part of the whole infrastructure process as well. I'm going to go a little bit quicker on this because I know a lot of this is going to be a little bit overwhelming for people, but I just want to make sure that we could give you some of this stuff so you can understand. We want to look at leveraging different types of energy to be able to make sure that we can lower electrical costs in the Bahamas. And that comes into the whole thing of when we're talking about manufacturing and having sustainable practices. We have the possibility of being able to create solar wind farms, solar and wind farms to be able to help generate different energy, hydrodynamic energy, taking plastics and turning them into a petroleum fuel, you know, creating backup generators. So when you do have storms and things like that to come into place, we're able to improve and be able to keep the connectivity rolling. You have a lot of salvage vessels, a lot of junk boats around the island. That comes back into the virtual training where we're going to recapture these boats. Some of those boats might not be as damaged as we would expect. Those boats will be able to be participants within our whole rejuvenation program for our virtual learning and hands-on learning, being able to strip these boats down to educate these kids as we're training them with the boating. So this is what you guys are waiting for, and this is what we're getting ready to make happen. You guys are people of the water. The Bahamians are people of the water. The boats are the main means of connectivity throughout the island and the chain of the country. Leveraging boats will stimulate economic growth. When we look at the different commercial aspects of boating, the growth of the country needs is boating being able to be embraced and being able to be leveraged as an asset and not a liability. And with this infrastructure rebuild, we're going to be able to bring these opportunities and strategic alliances to help empower the people of the KGM and the Bahamas and make something really major happen. First thing and foremost is Border Patrol in securing your country. Border Patrol and support, we have a bunch of different vessels. We have semi-submersibles, we have interceptor, we have plans for utilizing coastal and inland waterways to make sure they're secure. We have unmanned surface vessels. And I'll get into that a little bit detail once we get into the pictures. We also are going to try to be able to bring a little bit more, well, not a little bit more, but a lot of connectivity between the islands by being able to have small to medium water ferries and taxis that will be able to shuttle these people back and forth, which will also stimulate the economy. These will be in electric and hybrid, but here we go. Patrol boats. The patrol boats are going to be used in a variety of ways. One of them is one of our big boys here, guys. We have a huge connection and alliances with manufacturers, boat manufacturing companies. I'm a business partner with a company called Gloss Yachts. My business partner, Stefano Carugno, we do a lot of the design work on this patrol boat side, and we have manufacturers who work hand in hand with. The patrol boats will not be manufactured in the Bahamas right away. And this is something that will be our goal down the road, but we have other boats that we're going to be bringing in the fold to be able to go ahead and be able to manufacture as we're bringing them into the Bahamas. Okay, this for one, is an 11-meter patrol boat. This boat is powered with inboards and jets. This is going to be one of the boats that would end up being, you know, for our Bahamian border guard and patrol areas to be able to take care of the waterways, look at what's going on, get these things moving in the right way, and just allow you guys to have functional boats and not boats that are just sitting in the yard that are just wasting away. Emergency support and patient transport. If there's ever tragedies on the water, boating accidents, people drowning, things of that nature, being able to have emergency support vessels is one of the things that we want to also implement. Ambulatory boats can serve a purpose. If someone's injured in an island that needs to be transported to another island that might have better, you know, hospital conditions, medical attention, things that we can use, these boats will be able to help assist with that process as well. This is a fast interceptor boat. This is a 13-meter boat. It's powered with outboards. This boat will be able to utilize or be able to run throughout all of the islands to be able to make sure that your borders are being protected properly. In addition, it would also serve as a point of reference. Oh, what's happening? It's not showing. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, hon. Oh, this just happened. 1 second.
Let's see if the presentation
This is crazy.
we send the messages all around. He's doing the PowerPoint, but we're not seeing anything.
Can you see the screen now? 1 second. This is a disaster right now. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry about that. Screen here.
I didn't see the presentation. I thought we started at the beginning. Yes. We started the presentation at the beginning. That's what we're looking for now. I just take my coat off because
You guys see the boats now?
you were getting around. Yes.
Toronto, are they coming through? Oh my goodness. 1 second, people. I'm so sorry about this. I cannot.
Here we go.
Okay. Beautiful.
You get full and then more. Then it's time to turn all over again.
Let me just see what happens now.
People want to see. That's right.
Okay. My sincere apologies. I'm sorry you guys were not seeing the boats, but here we go again. Let's try this again now. So back to the fast interceptor craft. The fast interceptor boats will be the stuff that we use for border interdiction, smuggling, boats that are coming in that are foreign flagged. If we have issues with anything that's going on with fisheries, which is a big problem, people coming in and overfishing, any of the boats that are going through at high speed that might be doing something illegal, these will be the patrol boats we will use to be able to supplement and make sure that you guys will be able to be supported and safe. We have smaller boats that are going to also serve, which are a lot smaller, but will work in smaller interland, inner waterways, coastal, just surrounding areas. But these boats will also serve a purpose to be able to patrol and make sure that we're safe. The boats can be also outfitted with guns to be able to support if there was an aggressive act of anybody trying to come into the island that we didn't need to be there. We also have smaller boats where we go through the inland waterways and the smaller waterways that are drafting a little bit less water, going down to the exhumas, going through Eleuthera, things of that nature, where we can make sure that we have all sides of the island covered and making sure it's secure.
That's what people see. People didn't want this.
The semi-submersibles is something that's very special to us. The semi-submersible is a boat that's going to be able to go and dive 15 meters. So that becomes a stealth border protection boat that could end up being out at night underneath the water. And if somebody were coming in to try to smuggle or cause harm to the Bahamas, we would have something that we could set out there that would be able to help us to be able to counteract and keep the island safe. Submersible crafts, they can hold 6 people. There are 2 people in the crew that drive, and you have 4 people that can go in the boats to work them. If there's an issue of somebody that they had to go in and had to do a physical act where they had to be armed to go and pursue something, they have the ability to come out of the boat while it's underwater because it has breathing apparatus as well. This is the cockpit of one of the boats of the semi-submersible. As I said, the ability of this boat, it runs on water, on the top of the water, but then in the case if it wanted to be in stealth mode, the boat could then go underneath to be able to go ahead and facilitate underground search and rescue, anything that's going on as being in stealth mode. Unmanned surface vessels is a unique approach. And what it is something that a lot of parents kind of get annoyed with their children because they're playing video games. But this is going to be the wave of the future. As you all know, drones right now are flying around in the air. We take all of our photographs with them, but we also have water drones, which are unmanned surface vessels. And these are going to be used to be able to do anything from, hydro testing, cartography, checking out things where we want to do surveillance. They can be patrolled from a central location that allows us to be able to have these kids that are video game junkies who know how to use video games to be able to have the ability to maneuver these boats, because it's the same thing as using a video game. It'll allow you to get photographs. It'll allow you to be able to seek out and communicate with distressed craft. If somebody was lost or a boat went out, this could be something that could help to be able to retrieve. This is a little bit more intense. This is a lot more aggressive. This boat actually this drone or unmanned surface vessel also will allow us to go at 15 kilometers away from the base. So it can be mounted on a physical boat. It could be mounted in a vehicle, or it could be in a command center. And basically, if you're in a harbor, this could be able to be used to go ahead and protect the harbor without having to have physical people on it. Now, the goal of this is to be able to implement this kind of a environment, because now we don't have to waste the resources of having 8 guys on a boat just running up and down the border or protecting a harbor or an inlet or anything that's of importance or something that has to be secured. What will then happen is once we are alerted from here, we can be able to say, hey, guess what? It's time for us to go ahead and position the boat go ahead and make something happen. And now we can go ahead and distribute people to the various points. This is, like I said, a big video game. So you have the multi-screen operation, so joystick, everything that our kids are doing in video game playing is going to be something that we can be able to implement to try to help them to be able to show that they can make that a transferable skill that will help them and be able to help us to be able to bring them into the maritime. Another boat we're doing now is called the EUVs. The EUVs is an acronym for Efficient Utility Vessel. This is a sustainable solution that we came up with. And what it is, it's an electric boat. And one of the big things right now is relying on fossil fuels. One of the big impacts that happen is that we have an issue with pollution. We have a lot of anything that's going in the water. What we want to do is offer an eco-friendly solution that's going to be able to, one, cost less to operate, it's going to be gentle to the environment and accessible to everybody. One of the big things is that the Bahamas has, and we all know, is you have plenty of sun. The boats have the ability to have solar panels to empower them, would allow them to be able to be out on the water 8 to 10 hours at a time, which would be more than enough time for them to be able to do coverage or whatever utility they're going to be serving the purpose for. We have a bunch of different varieties, and we have layouts that can be for hotels or resorts, which is a more luxurious boat. These are smaller boats, but they're able to fit and transport into the containers. You're going to see in the project, I'm sorry, in the presentation a little bit further on. But the boats can be set up in different styles. So we have a luxury boat. We can use them as dive boats. We can use them as little shuttles between islands. It could also be a cargo utility boat, or a rescue boat as well. The beauty of this is when we have disasters, or if we have something that goes on, these boats are maneuverable and can go into those places that are low drafting areas, which is very important. The last hurricane that transpired, being able to get into certain, actuaries and getting into inland waterways, you can't get larger boats in there. So this is going to be an approach that we're going to be able to bring to the Bahamas, where we can be able to have these boats in various locations, but they can be able to go ahead and go in and do what they need to do, and then not have to use fuel. These are the luxury sizes of the boat, so you have different variations. This also becomes part of the business operation that we can put into play. These will be the boats that we can be able to bring into the Bahamas, and we'll start assembling and eventually start manufacturing these boats in the Bahamas. And these boats will be able to carry in to that model of being able to empower the Bahamians to have businesses. Our captains can be able to have these boats. Now they have a boat that's virtually no maintenance. They're able to have a boat that runs off of electric. The roof panels on the boat are solar. So now you have the ability to be able to go out there as long as the sun's shining, they'll charge. But even when the sun isn't shining, you have the ability to plug them in the wall, and they're going to still be able to go ahead and support and get you that 8 to 10 hours of charge time. 8 to 10 hours of run time to keep these boats moving. The boats also serve as a perfect avenue for advertising, because now we can do made in the Bahamas. Anything that we want to promote in the Bahamas could then be placed on the sides of these boats for additional revenue for the people who are going to purchase them and or operate them and use them. One of the big things too is handicap accessibility. And this is one of the things that we think about, is making sure that the water is open to everybody. So this is one of the things that we looked at with the EUVs and being able to create this. Here are a couple of more images of the EUVs, just some different configurations. Interior side. So we can be very luxurious with this, or we can also, just make it into a commercial type boat. The beauty of this is that we're able to make this boat fit into a box. And that really works well for us because we have so many different islands throughout the Bahamas. So now we have the ability to take these boats and put them in containers, put them on a barge, and send them down to the island, send them to Long Island, send them to Eleuthera, send them down to the Exumas. And then what ends up happening, these containers then convert and are able to be transformed into obviously storage and transport places, but they can also be opened up for business fronts. So you can actually make this into a business in a box type environment. As this, you can see right here, these are examples of what we're looking at, where these containers will then be able to double as a place where you can set up a business. If you had a water sport business and you wanted to have your boats out, you have your EUVs out, you might have some jet skis. Now this can serve as a storefront that would be self-contained. It'll also have solar panels so you can have your power. You'll be able to charge your devices, everything that you would need to be able to sustain the business in a box. So then if we did have inclement weather, if we had a situation, we're able to take the boat, put it back in that box, seal it back up. When everything goes away, we're able to get back into action. So what we're looking at is we're trying to find different ways to leverage the technology, one of electric, and the practicality of being able to make it transportable and moving around very easily. This is a little bit of information, and this is just overview on the electrical systems that we use to be able to charge the boats, the battery systems. Torpedo is a manufacturer that makes all electric engines. They partner with BMW. They have different batteries for, you know, whatever we're looking for. If we need higher output for longer range, we have a variety of different batteries. And as I said, this all ties in to being able to have solar, and we can do hybrid. Now, the difference with the hybrid and a full electric is that we might use a diesel generator to be able to power and to recharge the batteries, which then gives us a lot more range to be able to keep the boats moving. Fishing boats is a paramount part of the Bahamas. Fishing in general is a very integral part of this. We also manufacture fishing boats. This is one of our larger boats that we do. This is a boat that we would like to be able to bring into the islands, something that we can go ahead and be able to have the fishing ability. This is a more dressed up type boat, but we can be able to do commercial fishing boats as well. So basically what we're showing you is that we have the ability to facilitate pretty much any kind of boat that we need. We have access to everything we need to be able to create this environment. In addition to the boating, we also make an electric truck. And these electric mini trucks are really cool because they are also made out of composite and fiberglass. These are perfect trucks for utility purposes that we can use on the island to be able to do whatever, moving small parts. We can do, we can set them up as mini buses. We can do golf carts. We can do anything that has to work and be powered by electric. Our goal is to be able to utilize electric to lower the carbon footprint, make things more efficient. And these are things that we're able to manufacture. This would be a product that we can manufacture in the Bahamas. Another pickup, sides come down on this. This one is used as a little garbage truck. So, I mean, we have different, different applications that we can do. We can make golf carts. We can do pretty much everything. All of this we can do in the Bahamas, which is our main premise of what we're trying to achieve here. Maritime manufacturing, guys, is a very important part of this and the bigger picture of what we ultimately want to do. In the beginning, we're going to be able to bring boats in that we'll be able to start assembly and final assembly within the Bahamas. We will send boats in parts and then be able to bring that into our training program and our interactive part of our learning for the whole initiative of educating. This way, we'll be able to start really gearing up towards getting to the manufacturing aspect of it. So these are some of the things that we look at when we're looking at the facilities, and this is just really more of the manufacturing side of being able to have the right equipment to do the right job. And this is one of the big things that we want to be able to bring and build into the Bahamas for these people, for our people in the Bahamas, to be able to really have the right environment, not be in a shack, not be in some place that's not going to be protected, making sure that they can get the quality and the best education with the best products to make it work. This is a factory that we worked out of on the East Coast. And what we do is we look at these factories and how they flow. And these are the same similar things that we will implement into our process when we build our facility in the Bahamas too. So once again, when we start going into the boat side, we start looking at it from a bunch of different aspects, and we have to look at it from the woodworking. We have a bunch of carpenters down there in the islands who are very skilled. So now being able to get them in an environment where they can have the right tools to do the right job, It's not just going to be building stuff for boats. Now we can be able to go into different verticals, into carpentry for home builders, being able to do stuff for anybody that needs any type of woodworking. CNC rooms for our computer cutting of any of the materials that we're using to make sure that everything is made properly. I mean, these are just more of the technical aspects of coming into a facility and what we want to see for the future Bahamas to be able to build off of. Upholstery, once again, another part of the industry that can cross-pollinate, and it goes and it's transferable. So you have restaurants, you have anybody who does seamstresses, people who are sewing. This is the ability for them to be able to make a contribution as well into the marine industry, but this also parallels into the hospitality industry. It goes into all walks of everything that has to do with upholstery. So, you know, we're looking at restaurants, we're looking at, you know, automobiles, we're looking at anything that has to have any type of coverings. This gives us that same transferable skill that we can use on the other side. So it's not just all about boats. Back again, boats, for the boat side, we have the paint booths and things that we need in order to be able to do the right finishing to make sure our stuff is done correctly. These also they'll work for boats, they'll be able to work for vehicles, they'll also be able to work for furniture. So once again, the manufacturing aspect of this is not all geared specifically towards boats, but it gives us the ability to be able to have transferable stuff that we can move throughout and be able to utilize this environment to the benefit of multiple industries. Big warehouse space. Warehouse space is going to turn for us to be one of our big advantages, because it also can serve as a shelter for when we have disasters. You know, one of the things is that we have these hurricanes. The things that happen is that we build these buildings that are hurricane standard. These buildings can be able to be shelters when we have situations where things are bad, you know, getting people to the right places. The beauty of the warehouses don't need to be built on the coast. They can be built someplace in higher ground. They could be built away from the water. And then this way, this could be a point of reference for us to be able to use for emergency, for anybody who's distressed. We can be able to have a place that we can keep them safe. So I'm going to leave it at that. And now I'm going to just tell you guys that we can do pretty much everything that we want to do. And I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to spotlight this, and I'm going to continue talking to you for a second. Okay. So with that being said, all right, with that being said, there's a lot that we went over, but the whole premise of what we're doing here is just letting you, as the people of the Bahamas, know that we have thought about a lot of different aspects of what we can do. I must apologize for the little network issues that we just went through, but yet and still we have a situation where we are able to articulate what our vision is for what we want to see for the future Bahamas. One of the key things that we have to look at when we're looking at the Bahamas and making this right is, as we said, is being able to take control and be able to bring a different approach to what's been going on in the past. What we have right now is an opportunity to leverage the waterways to be able to be the advantage of all the Bahamians. So for us right now, our virtual learning is going to be our first part of the process. After we go to virtual learning, we go into the hands-on learning. During that process, we're going to analyze and see what's available within the island itself as far as resources. We're going to be able to take these resources that are eyesores, things that have been left, things that have been dispersed, just thrown away, take them to recycle them, be able to use this recycling as another platform for us to be able to use them for our programs that we're going to have for hands-on training. We're going to be bringing boats in from outside of the country. One of the things that has been a big thing is that within the United States, it looks like we use everything that comes out of the States. But by utilizing the Bahamas as a hub and bringing in the manufacturing and what we're going to bring in with our boats, we now will be able to be the gateway for everybody throughout the Caribbean. All right. That doesn't make sense to be able to have and move things over to the States to move it back when we can bring things directly from our partners, bring that into the Bahamas, and then distribute them accordingly. So when we look at this as a whole, it's every component works within each other. And to create this environment, we have to increase the infrastructure. We have to be able to support the people, but we also have to keep the beautification and keep everything in line to move everything in a forward process. So I'm hoping that you guys got a better grasp on what it is that we're trying to achieve here. It's not that we're trying, we are achieving. You know, despite our little glitches on what you saw in the presentation, Kevin has put a big effort. Dr. King has put a huge effort, and the executive staff has put a huge effort in working with me and identifying what we have to do to try to help this to make it work to our advantage. And one of the key components is it's going to rely on the people. And there's been a lot, and we're not here to bash or be able to be, this is our goal, our mission of what we want to be able to deliver to the Bahamas to make the Bahamians be proud of what it is. All right. You have the most beautiful country. We want to be able to keep it beautiful, but we also need to sustain it and treat it the right way. We have to treat Mother Nature the correct way. We have to treat the country the right way, but we also have to treat the inhabitants the right way, the native Bahamians who have been cheated for so long. The amount of money that transfers in the boating and what goes on in the boating industry, and we didn't even touch on some of the marine asset stuff, but what I want to explain to you is that we have to look at the Bahamas as a maritime hub. And as we look at this maritime hub, we have to think about all of the different things that we can bring into play with this. And one of these things that we're able to do is we can add boat shows, okay? We can bring trade shows in. They have charter shows where they're bringing all these boats into the Bahamas. Well, guess what? Every one of those boats that comes in, any one of these trade shows that comes in should be to the benefit of the Bahamians as well. So we're looking at trying to be able to create revenue streams and be able to create ways to generate money for the Bahamians. And the only way that we can do that is by taking control of the maritime industry, okay? And that means that we have to control the borders, all right? We see, I've gone through the exumas on several occasions. I ride through the exumas and I'll see 10 to 15, 30, 40, 50 meter yachts, okay? Each one of those boats comes through, they're provisioned wherever they are. The goal is that if you're coming into the Bahamas, you need to be provisioned in the Bahamas. When you get into the Bahamas, you need to get a pass to come and enjoy our waterways. So this is what we're talking about, managing marine assets, okay? One of the things is that you have boats cruising through the Bahamas and they're doing their thing, but have they touched down and have they supported local business? You have the cruise lines that come in, what they do, they buy their own islands, all right? This is something that we have to take control back of, because this is what's starving the people. As we look at the infrastructure development, one of the biggest things that we can do is to make sure that we make it where people want to come. So we don't want to make it where everybody's looking at the Bahamas as a negative. We want to make them look at the Bahamas like, man, the Bahamas is amazing. This is what we have to do. And the best way to do this now is control the natural resources. And those resources is the water. And the way that we control the water is by empowering our people to be able to have their own vested interest in what we're bringing to the table. Kevin has stressed this to me day in and day out. I talk to Kevin, Dr. King, I'm sorry, I'm being very casual, but I talk to Dr. King on a regular basis, and I talk to his staff, and we sit down and we hammer this out. We are on meetings for hours and hours at a time discussing these topics. And our goal and what we have come to right now is where we are ready to act now. And this is the time for change that we want to be able to implement our Maritime Initiative to help support the people, to empower the people, and to make a better Bahamas. So I hope you guys enjoyed what we brought out today. We will be having another one of these, and I think it'll be a lot more effective. Obviously, we won't have the glitches, but our goal right now is to let you guys know what we're here to bring to the table and how we want to help and empower the government to let them run and let Kevin and Dr. King and the Kingdom Movement team just turn this Bahamas into the Dubai of the Caribbean, because that's the goal right now. We need to make this the crown jewel of the Caribbean, and the people of color and power that are coming to make this happen. Now, God has to embrace us and make us do what we need to do and keep this thing flying. So thank you all for your time. I really appreciate everything and the opportunity to present. And once again, I apologize for the little glitches, the technical glitches that we had, but we're here to make this work, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. I'm going to hand this back over to Judy Ann, and we'll go ahead and we'll see what happens from here. Okay, guys? Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Truesdale, for a very awesome presentation. The Kingdom Government Movement is indeed very excited and honored to partner with you. It is now my profound pleasure to introduce the leader of the Kingdom Government Movement, Dr. Kevin C. King. Dr. Kevin C. King is a visionary. He has experience in many sectors. Notably, as an international diplomat, he has traveled extensively, meeting with heads of states on diplomatic missions and advancing humanitarian causes. He is a world-renowned physician in alternative medicine and one who loves the Bahamas and has the fear of God. Dr. King believes that the Bahamas is about to usher in a change unprecedented that will benefit all Bahamians. He is a native of Cat Island, Adelaide Village, Bar 20 Corner, and Freeport, Grand Bahama, where he was presented as the candidate for East Grand Bahama constituency for the upcoming general elections 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our leader, Dr. Kevin C. King.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Randy. Thank you very much, Judy. I would like to have an honest conversation with the citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Who are we? It has been said of Bahamians that we are a very peculiar people who on one hand may seem very set in their ways, but on the other hand can switch on a dime and adapt to different or difficult circumstances. That we are a passionate people in that we feel deeply about our beliefs and our country, and we love strongly our families and friends. That we are a particular people because we are very independent-minded and opinionated, which means we tend to hold our own counsel and not allow others to easily sway us. This is who we are as a people, inhabiting these isles of the sea. At this time, and for a common purpose under the sun, these are general characteristics that mark and distinguish us as a product of the path that brought us here to these islands. Embrace them for what they are and accept yourself for who you are. Who are you? We are Bahamians, peoples of the Isles of the Sea. Who are you, Bahamians? You and me. We are peoples of the Isles of the Sea because it matters not by which route you came, but by which bearing your path will now take. Who are you? You are the resonators of Yeshua's love, because by proclaiming love for the magnificence of all creation, and to those that share it with you, you will truly allow the world to mark the manner of your bearing. Bahamians, who are you? You are beacons of light shining from the mountaintops, because you will receive the light of Yahweh and break the chains of your bondage in 2022. It is by your shining example the world will see how to ascend to a loftier goal through unity and service to all. Who are you, Bahamians? You are the salt of the earth, the only true resource of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. It is you, blessed descendants of the Isles of the Sea, you who have your navel strings buried in its sacred ground. You who have walked these shores along the beaches from Abaco, from Grand Bahama, from Bimini, all the way down to Mayaguana and to Inagua, and felt the sand go through your toes as you let the surf flow over your feet. It is you that is the pearl and the real resource of this country. Let no one tell you differently. It is by your dedication, Bahamians, to national unity towards uplifting everyone, with this national unity towards uplifting you, the younger children, generations yet unborn, within this society through service and sacrifice, that the real wealth manifested for the benefit of all Bahamians. Let me say, let's believe that we can achieve much more than we've been achieving over the years. The Bahamas now possesses the greatest skill set of a population ever in the history of our country. Our young, bright minds are pregnant with so much innovation within it. They just want to burst. But they've been denied these opportunities. We must believe that we can be much better than we are now. We must believe. You have to believe that change will come to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You must believe that. You must believe that you can achieve and ascend to a higher, loftier goal. You must believe that you don't have to settle for mediocrity. And that's what we've had. It is time now for the new and next Bahamas. It is time now to transform our islands one by one. It is time to possess the land. This land is your land, Bahamians. It belongs to you. I love the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. There is no doubt. There's nothing I love more. I love the citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Everyone wants to come here. What is so unique about this place that everyone wants to come here? But it is the mandate of the Kingdom Government Movement to protect the indigenous Bahamians. That is paramount. It is a mandate of the Kingdom Government Movement that you share in the wealth of this nation. It is the mandate of the Kingdom Government Movement that we protect our own. This is real, citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You must believe that we can do this together. For the Kingdom Government Movement, we are the voice of change to a paradigm of progress, to a path to a purity of purpose. But the change begins with you. You have to decide, Bahamians, whether or not you are comfortable living the same way of living for over and over and over, or change must come. Let us work together. Join the KGM in changing the system that has oppressed us for so long. I am excited about the future of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I am in a celebratory mode because I can see a brighter future. And I want all Bahamians to see that brighter future, to feel that we can do it. We can be a Dubai. We can be a Singapore. We can be a Taiwan. We have the creativity. We possess the ingenuity. And we do have the human resources. Can we do everything by ourselves? No. No country can build itself with its own citizenry. And that is why we have partners like Randy and many others that will be introduced to you, that will help us facilitate in the transforming of this country, the likes of which they have never seen before. We present to you no ideas, no conjectures, no innuendos, no games, only solutions. Many of us can articulate our issues and our problems rather eloquently, as I always say. But the question is how? How are you going to do it? And this is the beginning of the KGM Solutions campaign. And we're presenting with you now the how. This is how we are going to begin the process of transforming the Bahamas island by island. This is one sector that is valued at billions and billions and billions of dollars. This is only one sector that the KGM is going to bring to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
They do that.
So my dearest friends, and my Bahamian, oh man, look, I was a Bahamian man. I ain't got nowhere else to go. This one, I got nowhere else to go. We could do this, man. This little black boy from Adelaide, where I going? Where I going to live in someone else's country? I'm not going anywhere. I want to be right here with you. This is serious business, though. Honestly, this is serious business. We have a monumental task ahead of us, KGM. No one that has had power for so long wants to advocate that power to anyone. We have to reach out to the masses of our people and convince them of the seriousness of the age and times in which we live. We are either on our way to a higher existence or extermination. The question is, have you experienced a better life over the past 25 years than you have ever had before? Or do you feel your country deteriorating? For me, my country is deteriorating at an accelerated rate, the fastest I've seen in modern times, the deterioration of an independent country. But then we can always go to say, are we truly independent? But we'll leave that for another day. I sincerely hope that you believe that what Randy presented today is possible, because I am here to tell you that it is possible, and under a KGM government, it will happen. It will happen. It will happen. And all I'm asking for you to do is to be the change that you want to be. Welcome to the transformation of the new and next Bahamas by the KGM, the Kingdom Government Movement. Good evening, and thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for our next meeting. Pleasant good evening to all. Kevin King.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I will now introduce our chairman to, no, please go ahead, Judy. And you want to wrap it up and say some words, and then we'll have our chairman come and close this out. And we can stay and answer questions if you may have. We will open we'll open the platform to questions. And once again, I just want to say thank you for all who participated and for all who joined us.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I will now call on our national chairman, Mr. Samuel Johnson, who will come and close us in prayer.
Thank you, Sister Judy, and thank you, viewing and listening audience, and thank you, Brother Randall. You have had a glimpse of what will be happening in the marine sector under the Kingdom Government Movement. And I want to assure you that we have just touched the surface. There's much in store. 95% of our territory is water. And it is a great asset of ours as the owners and possessors of this land. We have not really tapped into the rich resource the water provides to us. And with us having the ability to enter into the manufacturing of craft, we will be better able to man and care for what the Father has blessed us with. One of the greatest challenges the Defense Force faces regards to being able to capitalize more in providing greater protection and greater apprehension of violators of our land is assets. Unlike many other countries where there's one land mass, the task is that much more easier to patrol and to manage. But we have over 700 islands and keys. Manning and guarding that kind of scattered territory is not an easy task with the limited assets. But with the introduction of Border Patrol into our scheme of operation, we would be able to have the necessary assets that would deal with the offenses as we know they are, and be able to remedy and better provide for security and protection and apprehension of our people. And so I am so pleased and I'm excited about what the KGM government is doing and the plans and initiative for the way forward. And yes, the Bahamas is going through a transformation under this kingdom government movement. We are so pleased for our visionary leader, the Honorable Sir Kevin King, who we come to understand that the Father has given him a vision, a plan for the new and next Bahamas. And I assure you that that vision, the Father has also made the provision. And so we have seen right here before us with our very eyes, and we have heard with our very ears what's out there and what doors are open to us and that are made available to ensure that as a people, we can bring about that transformation. And so thank you again, our viewing and listening audience. Thank you again, Brother Randall. Thank you, Sister Judy Ann, for your able moderation. Brother Corey Adley for keeping our chat alive and showing a recognized call. And so at this time, I'm going to bring this to a close with a benediction. But as our leader said, you are at liberty to stay online and chime in and have some question answered if you so led. Reverence this moment now with our benediction. Father, we appreciate you and we thank you, Lord, for this night. We thank you, Lord, for what our eyes have seen and our ears have heard as relate to the maritime industry of our country. We thank you, Father, our presenter, Brother Randall, Lord. You have blessed him and made himself available for service. He has bought into the vision, Father, and we thank you for his coming and willingness to partnership with us. We appreciate you, Lord, and we pray, Father, your continued favor and blessing upon us as a people. And as we go forward there, Father, we go forward in faith, knowing that you are with us and you are able to complete the work you has begun in us. Bless us again. We pray for our coverage, those from Dove Radio in Grand Bahama, Global Radio here in New Providence, the World Wide Web, in YouTube and Facebook. We thank you, Father, and we appreciate you, and may your name be praised and glorified in all of this. Grace, mercy, peace. The blessings of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ rest and abide with us always. Amen. Sister Moderator.
I'll ask Randall if he wants to say.
She's in. Any further comments? You want to oversee a question and answer period, a chat talk? Brother Randall, anything pressing on your heart you wish to share or chime in on? We still live.
I'm here. You know, you guys want to, Judy Ann, if you want to spearhead any questions or anything, I'll be glad to answer anything on my side that I can. And whatever you guys, I'm here with you guys, no matter what. I'm ready to rock.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The question was asked, how much money, how much revenue can be generated from this initiative?
All right, so I'm just going to use some hypothetical, and let me just put myself into a position here. Hold on one second. All right, so there's a couple of ways to look at this, and we have to look at what assets we're going to really be looking at. On the manufacturing side is one side of the coin. There's so many different aspects of the Maritime Initiative that are going to be able to generate revenue. And when you look at, and I'm just going to use a hypothetical example, the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show last year, 2019 Fort Lauderdale Boat Show generated $1.3 billion maybe. Let me double check my statistics on that. There was I believe it was 1.2 to 1.3 billion dollars for a boat show. That's the revenue that came into the Bahamas. Into Fort Lauderdale. Miami International Boat Show generated $840 million. Okay. This is an event that takes place for a week period. Okay. And when we look at it from that aspect, the Miami International Boat Show generated more money than 2 Super Bowls. All right. The Super Bowls are supposed to be the biggest sporting event ever, right? Super Bowls are always the biggest sporting event. So if we just look at the aspect of what the boating side is, and we look at that 800 million up to $1 billion in revenue just based on that one show. Yes, it's something that took a long period of time to create, but the point is that the Bahamas is the perfect backdraft for boat shows. Okay, so if we look at getting government-owned marinas, all right, because what we're doing now is they have all the boat shows are in-water boat shows, so they're using marinas. So what does that do? We have the most beautiful islandscape. We have the most beautiful waters. If we're able to incorporate the marinas and bring the boat manufacturers to the Bahamas, now it becomes a destination. I'm not saying we're going to make $1 billion right away. It's going to be something that's going to go over a period of time. In addition to that, we're looking at the trade shows, the charter associations. The Charter Yacht Association does events now that are being conducted, I believe, in Curacao or one of the different islands. Our goal of looking at this is to try to drive these organizations to come and work with us in the Bahamas. The sailing regattas, the exact same thing. The whole thing that we have to look at is we have to think outside of the box to bring these things in. Now, when we start talking about manufacturing, sky's the limit. Because if we look at the Bahamas as we're creating this maritime hub, our manufacturing of our boats, our manufacturing of talent. So now what happens is we make this the epicenter for the marine business for the whole Caribbean. And we don't have to be so reliant on everything coming from other places. Now we're able to bring it to ourselves and then shuffle that down and transfer it throughout the different islands and throughout the Caribbean chain. And then it goes beyond that. We get South America, we have a lot of access. So when we start looking at it, can I quantify and give you an exact number of what kind of money that can be generated? I can't, because the sky's the limit. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Another question. Will there be jobs created for Bahamians? And if so, what are they? And can Bahamians become entrepreneurs from this venture, this initiative?
Let me speak to that.
Yes,
The
sir.
KGM.
Hold on, let me get you on the spotlight. Go ahead,
Thank
sir.
you. Yeah. The KGM main objective in all of this exercise is to put Bahamian first. We are moving into ownership. We will be the owners and possessors of our land. That is, everything that happens within this Bahamas will be led by Bahamian, controlled by Bahamian. And so Brother Randall made it clear at the onset that first in this exercise is going to be the training, and the training of Bahamians so that they'll be able to command the sector. Yes, every aspect of this maritime initiative has Bahamian first. Now, where we don't possess the skill, we will access it. But I'll show you this much. The Bahamianization program that was introduced under the PLP administration and spearheaded by the Honorable A.D. Hanna, that has never really had a real impact and effect, because everyone who seems to come in this country seems to drop anchor. But the initiative really is where we source those skill set. In 3 to 5 years, Bahamians should be duly trained and qualified to carry on the task. Obviously, those who enter under these administration drop anchor, never leave. Under the Kingdom Government movement, Bahamianization will become a reality. So I can assure you, with the policy of this movement, that Bahamian first. Thank you much.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
I want to interact and add into that with him as well.
Okay.
You know, what he said is the exact. I mean, our goal in this is, like we said, we need to train the future. And our goal in this whole initiative, and this is what the executive board has stressed to me, how do we empower the people? And when we're talking entrepreneurial, the only way that we can do that is by educating them. And that's the thing that they can't take away from any of us. So our goal in this whole premise right now is to educate. And this is why they're doing this in progressive stages. And that's why we looked at virtual. And I mean, we're not talking about starting in 2022 when Dr. King's elected and the KGM's in power. We're talking about starting now. And, you know, we're talking the fall of the year to get started with our virtual education. So clearly, there's so many spin-off businesses that come out of this that become entrepreneurial. Because when we start looking at the transfer of information to the people and the tourists, and us being able to be better ambassadors, because guess what? Now you own a boat, all right? Your family has a transportation business, or we're gonna be doing excursions, or we're gonna be doing scuba trips, or we're gonna be doing eco training. Now we've got the entrepreneurial vision covered over all bases on the maritime side. So will we empower the Bahamians? That's our whole premise in this side. And that's what I wanna see. I wanna see the Bahamians be self-sufficient in all of their maritime efforts and become a superpower at what they're doing, you know? And that's why we are looking to stress the educational aspect, transition education into hands-on training, transitioning into business development transitioning into manufacturing.
Thank you. This is a follow-up question then. How will this initiative benefit our children, our young people?
Can I address that?
Was that who? Yes?
Can I address that?
Oh, someone's mic. Who wants to address this one?
Can I address that, Dimitri Simonet?
Hold on a second. I got you. 1 second. Let me bring you out.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Okay. All right, as a matter of fact, in terms of the education aspect of this, it is extremely important that we realize that this education can be translated even to our children, even from the junior high to senior high school level. Obviously, we are not in charge right now of the Ministry of Education, but because of the fact that we are able, as the Kingdom Government movement, to have this kind of ability and capability, we can obviously enhance the marine schools that are now existing. There are some marine schools, after school programs that are existing right now, but we can definitely empower that and make it a 2.0, even a 3.0 undertaking, because of the fact that we can train our young people right now into this initiative so they can understand the manufacturing aspect or the navigational part of our oceans, or the different types of sonar energy that will be incorporated in this type of initiative. So definitely educating our children is paramount and is priority. Thank you.
Further to the question, thank you, Sister Julian. Further to the question, with regard to what employment would there be for the...
Go ahead, you're on.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
Further
sir.
to the question, with regards to what employment would be for our children. Let me say that, Brother Randall, you there?
Yes, sir.
Oh, great. Can you speak to the various employment opportunities for the young persons in the marine sector through this initiative?
Yes, sir. All right, so let's start from the beginning. The curriculum is going to start off on, like I said, the basic book knowledge, and we're looking at, you know, getting guys who are fishermen. We're looking at guys who are people who are mechanics. The goal is, as we said, is to try to incorporate this already into the education curriculum already. One of the big things that we've had a problem here in the States is that they took vocational training out of high school, okay? College isn't for everybody, and that's the fact. And the goal is that we have so much talent, and the kids, the children, the youth, the future, they have the talent as well. But the whole thing is they're not exposed to it. So when we're looking at the type of jobs that we're looking for, we're talking about starting off mechanics. We're looking at guys cleaning boats. It's very important. Knowing how to do it properly. Maintenance. It goes across the board. We're talking welding. We're talking carpentry. We're talking fiberglass fabrication. We're talking about getting these kids as captains, first mates, engineers on the boats. I mean, there are a lot of cross skills that are going to be able to be leveraged in this initiative. So yes, I mean, even getting these kids started, as we start this, implementing this program, we're also going to create clubs. And the KGM Boat Club, and it's all going to be about getting these kids on the water. So we talked about one part of it, okay, where we said that we're going to try to reclaim things that have been messed up around the island. I know when I was there for Irma, and when it passed, so I came right after to try to help with some disaster recovery. And I have pictures still to this day of the turmoil and the damage that was done. So now there were boats that were thrown up on land. Those boats, they're not broken. Some of them are, yeah, they might look bad or something like that, but they can be repaired. So what do? We take those boats, as those kids are going through virtual training, and the high school students, guess what, guys? Y'all got a project now. Let's build this boat. Let me give you a sense of accomplishment by letting you build the boat, and we take you through the process. And then guess what? When it's done, it belongs to the kids. It belongs to them to be able to utilize it. So yes, we're going to have so many different programs that we can use. And I mean, we can look at what we already got there, because if we take what we have that's been damaged, that we can take apart from here, take apart from here, take something from here, and put one thing complete together, then we can discard the other stuff and be able to recycle and use it. And this is what we're going to be able to give these children the opportunity to do. You know, if you're looking at children 15, 16 years old, well, you know what? We don't need you running the street. Come on, man. Come on over to the boat club. Let's start tearing the boat down. Let's see what the mechanics are. Let's learn about the electronics. And that's where we're talking about giving them the virtual side first, and then give them the hands-on. Let's get our hands dirty. Let's go ahead and pick a boat to say, hey, man, we like this boat. So now what are we going to do? We're going to make that a fishing boat, or we're going to make it a shuttle boat to move people around. We're going to take the kids to go snorkel and do exploration under the water. We're going to go and do cleanups around the harbor. So yes, we're going to be able to empower the youth all the way and give them pride and sense of ownership in this.
Wonderful. I want to add further to Brother Randall what the KGM initiative really is about. If you ask people today, because of the shutdown of the world and our major economy being that of tourism, it is regretting that we have no other real sector to cushion us in this crisis. Bahamas, before us, is an opportunity to cash in on the rich resources available to the maritime and the maritime sector by rediversifying our economy and providing job opportunities and benefiting from what is already ours. It's amazing how so many can come into our country and benefit from the rich resources. Yeah, and benefit from the rich resources that we own and possess. And all of what is generated, for the most part, is taken out. It's time now for what is generated in our country stays in our country for our growth and our development. And so this transformation, Brother Randy speak of, but ensure that we as a people are empowered to capitalize on that wealth that is generated and taken into this country. The creation of our own fishing boat, the creation of our own yachts, the creation of our own sports boat, training our personnel to carry out all of the scope of work relative to the maritime sector. Do you realize all of these cruise ships that come into this country? Name them, all of the large cruise ships. How many Bahamian you find employed on those cruise ships? But guess where they're traveling through? Our country. And who are the employees on those cruise ships? Not Bahamians. Who are the musicians on those cruise ships? Not Bahamian. And so I am saying the time has come as a people. The time has come as a people for us to command what is ours and our sector. No longer under the KGM government, but we will be able to be second-class citizen in our own country. We'll rise to the top because we'll be prepared for it. Thank you. Is there another question? Oh, we have time for one more question. Thank you, Sister Julianne. We have time for one more question.
Sir, my pleasure, sir. Okay, our final question. What about export? How will export be implemented?
Well, I mean, I look at it in a couple of different ways. Our export, when we're looking at manufacturing boats, is if we create this business model of our manufacturing and making the boats to what we're going to do, we're going to be able to take that down and emulate that and send that down to all the various islands in the Caribbean. One of the things that, like I said in the past, and what I was really stressing on, is that everybody becomes beholden upon America to be able to do certain things, which is part of it because of what we do in America and the ingenuity and the technology we have at our disposal. But as we said, our goal is to be able to transfer some of that. We know we still have to reach out to the US. We know we still have to reach out to Europe, but in the same respect, if we create our own thing within that's going to be able to benefit and do what it does or what we are accomplishing in the Bahamas, that could be emulated on every island going down through the chain in the Caribbean. And that's it. I mean, if we have boats, and for me, as I explained, we're manufacturing boats in Italy. We're manufacturing boats in the UAE. So if it comes to a situation where I have to import those boats, well, my goal is to import them into the Bahamas, because now I don't have to touch US soil. I don't have to touch anybody else's soil. And then that becomes a distribution point for us to be able to start exporting our products out. And when we look at the commercial aspect of it as well, as we create our own transportation systems with our water ferries and the things of that nature, those are the items that are going to be wanted by these other countries as well. I'll let Dr. King, you want to feed in on this? Unmute your mic.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, we are at the end of this auspicious occasion. I'd like to thank all for tuning in, but I would invite you to stay tuned. There's more to come. This is the first of many such presentations, and this is only the first of Randall's presentation. We did not show you all, just give you a little bit at a time. We still have a long way to go in the election process, so stay tuned as the KGM unveils the new and next and better Bahamas for all the citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. A pleasant good evening to all of you. KGM, Dr. Kevin King. Good night.
Good night.